Welcome to the Bet Elevator. It is Thursday, June 16th. My name is Lubecha, joined by always Couch Warrior, aka Mike, and we have a special guest this week, Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat. Another sharp guy, another dude that cracks me up with some weird shit he tells me in chat. He knows that I'm crazy. We're all fun. Ready to break down UFC Austin, Kattar versus Emmett. Mike, I'll start with you. How you feeling about this card? You are broadcasting live from there, of course.
Yes, I'm in Austin, so obviously I'm hype. You just have to look at my Twitter once and see my post with my bets to know I'm very hyped for this card because I went a little crazy. But yeah, it should be very fun. It feels like a pay-per-view, which is cool because it's not. So I'm hyped to see how it all plays out.
Patrick, what are you thinking about this card? I saw your video earlier in the week.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Mike. I mean, this feels like a pay-per-view kind of tier card as far as we always complain if it's not a pay-per-view. We complain about name value not being evident on these cards. But, man, all 14 of these fights are pretty stacked, and they all mean something for the most part, you know? Like there's a lot of middleweight rankings being switched around in this one, you know, and, of course, the featherweight in the main event. So I'm hyped.
Shout out to Monk in the chat. What's up, man? Monk, I'll be seeing you in a few hours. Monk had asked me specifically if I would go get the champagne of beers for later. My little stunts I'll be pulling at midnight, and
I cannot wait for that.
You guys are going late today. This is a huge. You made that tweet earlier, Lou, about how many fucking segments are on this show. I'm sorry to curse on that.
We encourage it. So quick programming note for everybody. So after this, we got Brady's doing his best bet show that he usually does Saturday. That's on his channel. Probabilities at 8:15. Our guy Eric, who, while not officially MMA engine guy, is literally does the most work out of any of us. So I like to include him. He's going live with the Guru on his channel for big money bets at 10, and then right back here at midnight because I am taking a very well-deserved and rare vacation this weekend. So I will not be available to do it Friday at 5:30. So
we need like an MMA Twitter TV guide or something where we can just kind of circle what programs you're going to watch.
That's right. So if you want content, we got you covered with props, with time props, with crazy bets. We got you covered tonight. But guys, let's dive in, man. We got 14 fights. Let's get it started. Philly zone. Kyle Daukaus against a guy who has the chest hair to be from Philly, but is not. Roman Dolidze. Mike, I'll start with you. What prop do you like to start off the show? I know Daukaus coming in is kind of a big favorite, so hard to find value on the Daukaus side anyway.
Yeah, it was hard for me to really I have zero props so far on this fight that I've actually bet. I'm on the Daukaus side, which kind of sucks because I'm Ukrainian, my girlfriend's Georgian, and Dolidze is both of those things, so I kind of feel like a dick. But I don't know. I just feel like Daukaus is better everywhere, but I would lean a submission. But then it's can he really submit Roman, who's a high level BJJ guy? So then it's okay, is ground and pound live or maybe a standing KO? So I don't know. If I bet anything, it would be my classic round 3 prop because Dolidze does slow down big time. Plus 800 to plus 1,000 is what you can get on it. So I would probably look at that, but I'm gonna say pass right now because I don't have anything good.
All right, so you're getting 0, and George bringing up a very good point. How do we trust you today, Mike? How can you be trusted?
I couldn't put it in the suitcase. Nothing else would fit.
Patrick, what do you got for this? Right now you're coming in. All you have to beat is N/A.
It's nothing. I'll start with something a little bit safer, but Kyle Daukaus by decision at plus 150. I think this is a pretty good bet just because of the last time we saw Roman Dolidze. I mean, the guy pretty much employed a game plan that suddenly is not winning us fights anymore. It's not winning the favor of the judges. He basically just went behind Laureano Cerrone last year and just held him for about, the majority of 15 minutes and did some knees to the thigh and things like that to, stop it from being broken up. But I think a lot of other refs would have actually broken that up regardless. It was pretty much a stalemate. So I don't mind the guy's stand-up. I think, he overextends in a lot of the ends of his combinations, which could get him out of position. And I think that'll open up the takedown for Kyle Daukaus to get the control time, get the activity on top. And I'd say cruise to a decision here. I think Roman's pretty tough. Not the best fight IQ, but still a guy who's used to being in bigger weight classes, pretty tough. So give me Kyle Daukaus plus 150 decision.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. we talked today, like, we had a little company meeting like we like to do on Thursdays, and Monk actually said, "What's the Dolidze decision prop?" And I believe it was plus 380. I may be wrong on this, but plus 380. But my big thing is I don't know how he wins a decision. I feel like if this hits the ground, Dawkins is all over him. He's clear advantage. Whereas Dolidze has the power, I think Dawkins, A, is tough, but B, has a ton of volume. And like, I don't know that Dolidze could put up with the volume. So I'm right there with you with the Dawkins decision at plus 150. Mike, I guess you're not going to top that one since you led off with a pass. So
I feel like plus 380 for Dolidze is like kind of, I feel like it should be higher, no? We got plus 700 on Malkoun. I feel like it's similar.
yeah, and it does feel like his path is in the distance. I mean, I'm actually surprised that his in the distance prop is plus 500 compared to his decision prop. It does feel like that's his path, but
Yeah. I mean, if he drops back for leg locks, that might not work on Kyle Dawkins, and gets dominated from top position. I could see it going that way. I just can't see. I'm like you, Lou. I can't see how he wins this fight outside of something in the distance. But a slippery jiu-jitsu player is Kyle Dawkins, and I think he'll get the better of a lot of the positions.
Reppin' Philly, of course. Reppin' Philly on the show. Even though Philly is whatever it is, I still stand by my city.
There you go.
And I have to take a lot of its fighters if I can. Next up, the tallest man on the card, Darren Nguyen, taking on Philip Hawes. I'm still not 1,000,000% convinced this fight's going to happen because I've been reading things all week that Darren Nguyen's trying to pull out. He already has pulled out of this fight twice in the past. But as of now, this fight is still on. Patrick, I'll start with you. What bet do you see? What prop really standing out for you in this one?
God, I mean, last time this fight was put together, I think was like last October, and the line was a lot wider, right? Because the value hadn't yet dropped on Phil Hawes. He hadn't yet been knocked out by Chris Curtis. So
that was the whole progression of like Hawes to Curtis, and then Nguyen to Curtis, and then Hawes dropped out, and then James Krause was like, "I'll take the fight."
Yeah, right.
And they're like, "Dude, you weigh like 20 pounds." Like, no.
Yeah.
You're like. So it really like that whole and then Hawes ended up fighting Curtis, I believe, 2 weeks later. So yeah.
So unfortunately, like before, it might have been like a possibility to fade the poor gas tank of Phil Hawes. Say maybe if Darren Nguyen can out hustle him in round 2, and then can out hustle him with the wrestling around 3, a gassed opponent. But now we're not getting that like big underdog price on Darren Nguyen because the line's a little bit closer now. So I think Darren Nguyen by decision, if that was even gonna be in some universe of happening, that was like plus 400. But Phil Hawes to win by KO in round 1 is plus 425, and that's where I'm settling this time.
All right, I can't beat that. I did look at like when I first looked at this fight, I looked at a lot of the time props because Hawes should just bonk him immediately. Like I love the first round prop, but like it's still Phil Hawes. I still can't trust him. And look, he is coming off like a pretty bad knockout. Now it's a long time ago, like granted, or maybe I don't know. He hasn't fought since. I don't believe
it was November. Yeah,
so he hasn't fought since. Now look, I always talk about like that 6-month gap between getting knocked out and coming back in, like to get your head right. But still, when that is your last fight, there might be some hesitancy to launch. Now, hopefully, he knows that unless Nguyen does get like some lucky shot, like. He should have a clear advantage on the feet.
Right.
He should be able to negate that. So I'm right there with you with the round 1 KO. I guess Patrick, you're 2 for 2 so far, unless Mike.
That's good. I thought mine were going to be kind of low compared to you guys, but yeah, I mean, Phil Hawes round 1. I'm not a big believer in Phil Hawes by any means, but it's a juicy enough number, and 9 out of his 14 wins as a pro have been under 1.5. So
we're early in the show yet, Patrick. Just wait till just Mike and I are just getting warmed up here. Mike, what do you got? Can you top 425 for this?
You already know I looked at the round 3 for Nguyen. I'm on Phil Hawes without a doubt. I think he sparks Nguyen. I've got him in my big round robin. I've got him money line. But I like my little hedges, my little big props. So I did take a look at Nguyen KO round 3. It's like plus 2,200 or plus 2,500. But I don't think I'm going to get there. I just don't see it happening. Hawes was exhausted, and he survived Dimavov in round 3. So like, what the hell is Nguyen gonna do? Like, really, what is he gonna do? So
we are on the Hawes. You're on Hawes round 1 KO. It is not plus 4. There we go. Plus 460. I believe that's FanDuel. 460 is FanDuel. Thank you, FanDuel, as always, for giving us odds that are $1 more than they probably should be. But we are moving on to the third fight of the night. We are now in, oh God, and I get to start this one. I am so thrilled. Cody Stamann and Eddie Wineland.
Oh boy.
So I don't have a bet on this one. I talked about this a little bit last night on Club and Sub. The only thing I really even felt comfortable with on this fight was fight goes the distance or fight to start round 3 as a parlay piece, the fight to start round 3. I mean, I get that they're setting this up for Stamann, but like the one thing Stamann's good at, the grappling, like, is the one thing Wineland, even at this part of his career, is still good at defending. So if this stays standing up, you really want Stamann as a 5-1 guy. So I have no action on this one altogether. I'm passing altogether. Like, and unless you guys see a round prop you like, I can't see myself getting in the window at all. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, so honestly, I'm actually on the fight doesn't go. I feel like, so Wineland, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure he never won a decision in the UFC, if I remember correctly. So already there, I'm thinking, like, that's good. And then also Stamann's been talking to him about how he wants a finish. He needs a finish. He wants a finish. And I personally think that Wineland's got hands. I feel like on the feet, Wineland is better here. I feel like he's being a bit underrated just because of his last fight. But, like, if you watch that fight against Castaneda, tell me Wineland wasn't winning that first round. I feel like he was. And then he got countered because he got his hands down. And Castaneda's dirty in the pocket. But Stamann's a wrestler, not a counter striker. I don't think he's got that ability to finish Wineland like that. If he's going to get a KO, it's got to be ground and pound, in my opinion. So I'm taking a shot on Wineland by TKO. I got it at plus 700, and I feel like it's a decent spot.
Wow. He has won a decision. It was 10 years ago against Brad One Punch Pickett. It was December of 2012, so 9.5 years ago was the last time he won a decision. Patrick, are you going to top? You're going to top the Wineland KO here?
Certainly not. If anything, I'd be going against him and actually picking Stamann to get a KO for the first time in a while. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of with you, Lou. It's kind of a pass spot for me. The most likely spot would be just chopping that. What is he now, like a minus 500 or something favorite, Cody Stamann?
Yeah.
You could chop that down to like minus 130 by decision, which is usually how he wins most of his fights. But I do have a feeling, just a gut feeling, that I can't support that this fight does not go the distance. Kind of like Mike was saying, I can't prove that. I'd say the safest bet would just be to transform that giant money line down to minus 130 for Stamann decision.
Yeah, I don't like when I get a bunch of fights in a row that I don't have action on, and unfortunately, the way this card is set up, I have a bunch that like I don't really have action on.
Yeah, because then your night's either going to get really good or crash and burn all at the back half of the card.
Right now, like luckily for me, I'm going to be watching this on a delay. So like I can just fast forward through a couple of fights, but I even won't do that. I'll just be like, just fast forward through commercials at this point. Well, speaking of a fight that I will most likely be inclined to fast forward past, Gloria DePaula against Maria Oliveira. Mike, you start this one off. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I took a dog shot here because I feel like Oliveira really isn't bad at all. I feel like her striking's pretty solid. She didn't really get to show much in her last fight against Richie because it's Tabitha Richie who likes to grapple and bring it down to the ground. And I feel like if this is going to be on the feet the whole time, it's going to be close. DePaula's good on the feet. I think she probably wins on the feet, but like it's MMA. A lot of things can happen at plus, what is it now? Plus 220. That's what I got, I think. Plus 230. I like it a lot, but my bigger odds bet here is the fight doesn't go the distance. I played it at plus 250. And if it does go on the feet the whole time, 2 strikers, I'll take it.
All right, plus 250 doesn't go. Patrick, you beating that?
Certainly not. No, I can't find an angle to pick Maria Oliveira here. I'm just not a big fan of the way she fights. I think in this matchup, the bigger, more impactful strikes will be from DePaula, oddly enough. I think she's the more flat-footed, better counter striker. Really actually turns her hips into her strikes, whereas Maria Oliveira, she gets the volume she gets the numbers in the board, but there's really nothing to like gain her opponent's respect off of those strikes from a lot of the fights I've seen. It's a close fight. I don't hate anybody taking the underdog here since it is kind of one of these women's strawweight, God only knows. I mean, you'd be laying the chalk on somebody who's 6-4 in Gloria DePaula. Now, there is some decent competition in there, but not very much. I mean, and not to mention these women are pretty young. Like Maria Oliveira is 25. She can make improvements at this point. So yeah, I'd say dog or pass in this one. It's a pass for me.
The only thing I care about this fight is that Gloria DePaula beat Bell Beats, and as did Luke's future wife, Liana Jojua. So really the only thing I cared about is like, is there a way DePaula can fight Jojua to really like have that circle of MMA come together? I have no interest in this fight at all. I don't know, Mike. I just don't know what you see in Oliveira here. She's like pillow fisted. I like she. I mean, look, I don't know why they put her against. I mean, looking back, we didn't know at the time, but her against Marina Rodriguez was like legalized murder. I don't know why they made that fight. I mean, that was just a huge.
That was Contender Series, right?
Yeah, and it's a huge mismatch. But there's nothing I've seen from Oliveira that's impressive. And DePaula, I mean, I guess what you can say is she's going to throw a lot. Doesn't mean she's going to land a lot, but she's going to throw a lot. So
will Oliveira though. And
I mean,
plus
yeah,
250. I mean, plus 230.
I actually debated making a play here. This is one of those fights I look at and like, do I want to take the split decision prop? But then I looked at like who's fighting, and I'm like, I just don't want to get involved here. So, Mike, you got this one all to yourself. You got Oliveira outright at plus 220. Or I'm sorry, your fight doesn't go at plus 250, right?
That's my highest one, yeah.
Even that should be more, I feel like, like that's not a bad number, but that should be more.
So let's move on to an interesting fight that I haven't gotten to at the window yet. I think this is kind of interesting fight. Danny Chavez and Ricardo Ramos. Patrick, I'm going to start with you, but what I want to know before you give me your pick is, and I know who you picked from your show, but do you think this is properly lined? Or is it a little too wide for your liking?
I think it's much too wide for my liking. We got Ricardo Ramos here at minus 300 and Chavez, like a plus 250, something like that. It's
240 on DraftKings at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little too wide for me. I think I can see why there's money come in on Ramos for sure. And I am in the Ramos side. The younger guy by 9 years. I mean, the taller guy, bigger reach, better movement as well, and just a more diverse, unpredictable striker. But I mean, just talking about his UFC career so far, it's hard to justify this guy being such a big favorite to win a projected 75% of the time. It is a little bit too wide for me. And I'll admit that the value side should be on Chavez, but Chavez is tough. Chavez, I think, has enough going for him where he could probably survive and make this into, to the judges' scorecards. I see him walking forward a lot, which is, part of his good game plan is pressuring his opponents, backwards. But Ramos is a pretty good counter striker, and all of his diversity of strikes, I think he outpoints him into a decision here. And that decision is sitting at minus 130, and that's kind of where I ended with it.
So I'm going to let you go next, Mike, because you're not beating me. So go ahead.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm on the underdog here. Not to disagree with Patrick, but
no, go for it.
It happens. So I got Chavez. I picked him up at plus 250. I thought that was so wide because, look, realistically, I feel like Chavez is kind of being underrated here. I feel like Chavez has really crisp striking. I really like his stand-up. He puts together good combinations. My one thing would be he's low output, but, like, so is Ramos most of the time. He's been fixing that, though, so I'll give that to him. And I also think that Chavez's grappling is underrated, and I think some people think maybe that's where Ramos is going to succeed. But Chavez, 87% takedown defense. And you watch his fights, like his debut against TJ Brown. He took TJ Brown down 4 times and defended 6 takedowns. TJ Brown's out here out wrestling Jordan Griffin. He's out here out wrestling Rosa. I know Rosa's not much, but he's still a decent grappler. So I think that if Chavez can keep this on the feet, it's going to be super close. And I think he's also live for a knockout. So I do like Chavez money line plus 250.
So I love the leg kicks of Chavez, but there's 2 things I'm going to say here. Our highest odds bet through 4 fights is plus 420. Enough dicking around. Enough of this shit. So there's 2 bets I saw on this.
No, it's not. It's 700.
What do you?
That's right.
Oh, Wineland.
Wineland KO.
Well, I'm blowing. Oh, that's right. My handwriting's terrible. I'm blowing that shit out of the water right now. So there's 2 bets I like in this fight, and they're both the same price. One of them. So we haven't talked about it yet because we haven't had too many fights that we've had to worry about it. But let's talk about that old Texas judging because we're gonna get some screwy results here. Now, I get that Ramos's judging is Ramos's grappling is pretty good. but he seems like more of a back taker. Like, and we were talking about this last night a little bit too. Like, he's not as proactive at it. Like, he'd rather stay at distance than jab. Chavez is like, yeah, he lunges for shots, but the dude's tough and he can grapple a little bit. So I think this goes to distance every time. I see Paul Pierce is talking about Chavez by decision, which I like, but I'm going to take that one step further. And I'm saying that Chavez by split decision at 20-1.
20-1.
In the Texas, with this judging. I mean, look, man, it depends on, especially in a situation where you have Chavez is probably going to be throwing the harder punches. And Ramos is probably going to have the volume just from standing up. But Chavez's leg kicks are like lethal. So I like Chavez by split decision at 20-1 here. And then there's another 20-1 bet I kind of like for my tape. It looked like these guys, I saw at least 12 to 13 ball shots that, like, maybe there weren't any points, but
there we go. Yep.
Let's play some Yam Bag Yahtzee. Chavez Ramos right in the Yam Bags, 20-1. That's 2 20-1 bets I got. Do I even need to ask you guys if you're topping it?
No, certainly not.
I really hope you hit both of those, Lou. That would be.
I like the Yam Bags choice though. That's the.
I think that's
something I saw on my tape as well. All the spinning attacks going on from Hamosh. I mean, it's going to open up the bags right there.
I'm really
I
glad.
feel like there's going to be fence grabs all day.
I could win 85 bets in a row, and all anybody's going to care about is, Lou, what's the Yam Bag special?
That's it.
It's good branding and it's terrible branding.
Your reputation precedes you at this point, Lou.
Yeah, I mean, look, and now, oh man, I get to start out with this one too. So Court McGee, Jeremiah Wells. Oh man, so let me just say this: if you know Renzo Gracie Gym in Philly, they are 14-0 in the UFC as of right now. I agonize with this one, man, because, like, obviously I want to root for Jeremiah. Like, I want to root for both of them. I shouldn't say it like that. I just tried. I saw the steam come in. You know, McGee, if you were lucky enough to get McGee at, what was he, plus 120, 125, a little higher at some points during the week, and plus 150 initially. If you were lucky enough to get on McGee early, like, good for you. It's not that I think the line's gotten away from anybody. I think minus 120 is still perfectly reasonable. I don't know where Wells is better. I know he has more power, but, like, I don't think there's anything he does that McGee hasn't seen. So I don't have a bet on this yet, but what I wanted to suggest is live bet Court McGee after round 1. I think Wells' winning condition is the round 1 knockout. I don't think he gets a sub on McGee. I really don't think he gets the knockout. I just think Wells' best strategy is to come forward and blitz him. And I think the longer the fight goes, the more it's going to favor McGee. For whatever reason, I still look at Wells as like a prospect, but he's 2 years younger than McGee. He's not as worn as McGee, and I understand that. But, like, Bernard Hopkins fought in his 50s. He didn't have, like, he wasn't worn, like, so he didn't fight like a 50-year-old. But I just feel like the longer this fight goes, the more it plays into McGee. I think McGee can make it ugly. I don't know if Wells knows how to make it an ugly fight. So the best advice I have betting wise is McGee after round 1 live, and you probably get plus 250. But pre-flop, I'm going to defer to you two and see what you guys come up with for your best bet. Mike, what do you got?
So I'm sure you guys saw my post. I got to meet Court McGee in the airport, which was pretty damn cool.
Have you showered since?
No, I refuse to shower. Never washing that hand again. But I'll say this. I already had a bet on him before then, so I'm only biased now, but I wasn't biased before. And I did get him at plus 100, so that was cool. I put a 1.2 units on that, and then I put another 1.2 units on him now. And I agree with you, Lou. I don't really see where Wells is better here other than the power. And can he knock out Court? I mean, yeah, probably. But do I think it's going to happen? Not really. I think Court's going to make it a grindy fight just like the last two. Look, like, Wells is probably a grappler if you had to, like, put him in a category. That's, like, his best thing. He's still kind of sloppy on the feet. He just has good power. But I'd say he's a grappler. And Court McGee just dismantled Ramiz Brahima, a very high-level BJJ guy, and completely dismantled the other fella.
He's an all right guy. He's all right.
I mean, no, I'm saying outside of MMA, he's very high-level.
Gotcha.
Ramiz. And so is the other dude. I'm blanking on his name now, the guy before that. But I just feel like Court McGee.
Silva?
Yeah, thank you. but I feel like Court can cover him everywhere. I'm gonna kill this. Like, you guys aren't gonna beat me, so I'll give Pat a chance at least, and then I'll finish it.
By the way, second guy that he's fought from the same gym. Great fight against Sean Brady. You know, that I don't know if it should have been a split, like, but great fight against Sean Brady. Like, so Pat, what do you got on this one, my man?
Yeah, that was one of the more impressive things he's done is give Sean Brady such a tough time, and that fight has aged so well since then. Same with Diego Lima, honestly, not too bad. And then the little streak he's been on too, with like Mike was saying, just negating the game plan of guys who are pretty much specialists in the BJJ game. So that's kind of what I expect here too. I got in on Court McGee when he was still that more underdog price. It's like a minus 107 or something is what I got him at. And I don't mind the Wells side, honestly, either. I mean, he's got less experience by far. He does have that early fight kind of chance to get the explosivity going. By the way, I almost ran a car off the road the last time Jeremiah Wells fought, when he fought Blood Diamond, and he ran head first. I was fading Blood Diamond. I had Jeremiah Wells in like a big parlay with a couple other people that night. And I was in the back of an Uber watching it. I like screamed
when he fell over?
Yeah, like when he ran face first in the cage like a few seconds in.
That was so ridiculous.
Yeah. To have that guy in a parlay at that point was, I didn't regret it later, but at first I screamed. But I see the Court McGee side here. I mean, he's just as a sports bettor, as a MMA, handicapper. What better guy is there than Court McGee betting wise? I mean, he does the same game plan. He's the same guy year in, year out, ever since he made his debut in like 20.
I mean, he's died twice.
Yeah, exactly.
What more do you want?
You want somebody like that. So I got Court decision here. I think it's just the rinse and repeat Court McGee. I mean, he's gonna maybe give up round one, maybe, and then he'll work his way back into it rounds 2 and 3. So give me Court by decision.
Question for the panel: if Court McGee fought Blagoy, who's been stabbed like 9 times, would they just fight forever? Would there ever be a winner, or they just?
And then you put Matt Brown. You making a triple threat with Matt Brown, who's like also died.
Well, didn't McGee beat Brown, or no? Am I thinking of?
I mean, at this rate, you can throw Terrence McKinney in there too.
Yeah, throw Terrence McKinney in there. I think Tim Means as well. Tim Means similar.
Well, we'll
battle to the death.
Well, we'll get to Tim Means later. I was telling the guys before, I always confuse Tim Means with Mike Shit Pyle. I don't know why. They just both look like absolutely terrible people. Absolutely terrible people. Mike, top us. Go ahead.
All right. So, when I look for my round 3 props, what am I looking for? Bad cardio, somebody who doesn't go like the distance often, and like that's Jeremiah Wells. He doesn't go to the decision often. He hasn't yet, and I think he's going to be really exhausted by round 3, especially if he's going to be implementing his game plan, throwing huge shots, going for the grappling.
Thank you for the visual aid. Thanks for the visual aid.
Sometimes I got to do it. So I feel like Court is live for a round 3 finish. I wanted to just take round 3, and I do suggest just doing that if you could. I can't because New York FanDuel is weird, so I'm going crazier. McGee round 3 KO plus 3,900. Let's rock.
So I'm sorry, Court McGee round 3. You said
round 3 KO is plus 2,900. I would suggest just taking round 3 if you can. I couldn't.
All right, so Court McGee round 3 knockout at plus 2,900, and round 3 39. Jeez. And plus 2. Yeah, I don't. Well, he could get a submission. It depends on where this fight goes. But
right.
I think McGee.
You never want to.
I don't know. We'll
Sorry,
see.
you never want to like count out the sub stuff. Like look at Jiri just now.
Yeah. Well, anybody that had him KO and not in the distance, probably feels like an asshole because like it was a 10-cent difference in the line. I think it was minus 145 and minus 135. But like, you never know, man. Like you get a DQ win. Like just. Taking on the distance.
McGee round 3 was what was the price on that?
2,000 for round 3 and plus 3,900 for.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, well deserved. The last time Court McGee got a submission win, I think Brock Lesnar lost the belt.
Bork.
Yeah, I think it was the same night.
All right, we are on to the 7th fight. By the way, we got more than 20 people live in chat. Thank you guys for hanging out. Please like and subscribe. Go like Mike's content. Go like Patch's content. I stand by it. I wouldn't have them on the show if I thought they were the worst. They're the best. Moving on, fight number 7. Jasmine Jasudavicius. I have been listening to Bird all week to make sure I pronounce that one right. Jasmine Jasudavicius against Natalia Silva. You know I'm going to reference Bert like all the time. So, Mike, I'll let you start off with this one. The one thing I have to say is this definitely seems like a big MMA Twitter Natalia Silva push. Do you see it like they do?
Look, I'm on Silva because of the underdog odds, and I see the ways she can win, but I don't agree with the MMA Twitter push that she's like actually has a really good chance. I don't think so. I'm playing a half unit on her at the plus money, plus 200. I like that because, yeah, she's live for a sub always. And I also think her hands are super underrated. You look at her last fight, the way she like makes angles when she's striking is like, you don't really see that often in MMA period, and then women's MMA for sure. So I feel like she's going to be one of the better strikers that Jasmine's fought. I'll start light. I'm eyeing something crazier, but I'll start with the money line on Silva plus 200.
Patrick, you're going to beat that on this very high level fight?
Yeah, because I'm not on the Twitter train of simping over Natalia Silva at all. Based on the tape that we've seen of her, or that I watched of her, I'm not impressed very much at all, especially in the grappling realm. You know, you would think that that's kind of where her strong suit would be with her submission wins on her record. But, I mean, if you watch the tape of her she'll try to, like, out-muscle a girl who's got, like, 0 wins in the clinch against the fence, end up on her back, like, by mistake often. And I think that's where Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to take over the fight. And I'm actually taking Jasudavicius inside the distance at plus 360. Not something that I'm hugely confident in. You know, obviously this is a low-level fight. The only thing that gets me less confident in this is the fact that Natalia Silva hasn't fought since like December of 2019. So going from 22 or 23 years old to now 25, maybe she has made some improvements. Maybe she'll look different. But based on what I've seen, I'm not impressed at all. And I think Jasmine walks right through her.
There's a fighter on this card in Duriev that has like the second best Tapology picture I've seen. Nobody's beaten. Like Mr. Finland is the GOAT, and then everything else is next. Natalia Silva maybe has like the most generic Tapology picture.
Yeah.
It looks like a stock photo. Like it really does. Yeah. I'm not convinced it's her. I have nothing on this. I see people playing the Silva subs. I just don't get it. Like, I mean, if it stays standing, I think Silva's maybe all right. Like she does a lot of volume from like the tape I've seen, but the big thing for me is she hasn't fought in 2.5 years. Jasudavicius, this is her 4th fight in 15 months. I always favor the active fighter. I mean, because you have like when you assume she's leveling up, do we know? Like we don't know. I mean, the way we know somebody's leveling up is watching them fight better and better and better competition. So I don't have a play on this one. Mike, if you want to beat plus 360, you go right ahead.
All right. So I haven't done it yet. I'm gonna just put it out there. So while I know all of Twitter is saying sub because that's what's on her record, I feel like wrestlers tend to be very difficult to submit, and that's exactly what Jasmine is. She's a wrestler. She's whatever it is. It's silver medal freestyle in Canada. Like she's a very high level wrestler. So thank you. So I feel like a sub might not be as live, but on the feet, right? Jasmine's long and she does put together good combos. That's why I bet her last time. But she's not like amazing on the feet. And Silva's not amazing on the feet either. But like I said, she cuts those angles really nicely. And I feel like if she can close the range, she'll have the advantage. It's super like unlikely. I understand that. But plus 1,400 is a little tempting to me. I don't know if I'm going to get there. So I can't win this round. But I'm looking at it.
I'll piggyback on Mike, though. I'll admit that even though I'm not a big fan of what I've seen from Natalia Silva, she was super young when she started professionally. And she does have what he's talking about is like rudimentary things that you could easily see being improved over time. Her striking looks like she knows what she's doing, just needs to practice a little bit more. Maybe those 2 years off will do her some good, but these are all assumptions. And if it's the same version of the fighter I saw on tape in December of 2019 and before, I'm just not impressed. But I do see what Mike's talking about.
So we're going to go with Jasudavicius plus 360 in the distance for Patrick. You didn't take a certain, just in the distance. No method.
No.
All right. Well, now that we're done with these turds, let's move on to the fights that everybody's really here for. And I believe, Patrick, you're going to start with this one. Adrian Yanez against Tony Kelly. I have a very strong opinion on this fight in general, but
sure.
Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah, this fight is a closer fight than the money line indicates for sure. I believe Tony Kelly has a very good chance of making this closer than the line would indicate. I am on the Yanez side as far as who I think will win this fight. I think fundamentally his boxing is just so crisp. His counters are nasty. And I think Tony Kelly will be the perfect dance partner for him as far as the boxing goes. He'll pressure forward. And Tony Kelly's aggression it's great in itself, but it leaves a lot of holes to get countered by. So I think Yanez will give him trouble, probably work to a close decision here. And that's where I think this fight ends up. Is fight goes the distance is actually plus money, plus 120. I think that's the most likely. I think this will possibly be the fight of the night. I'm beyond excited for this matchup, and I think both guys will do well. But I don't hate anybody taking the plus side on Tony Kelly here. He is the value side in my eyes, but I'd say even just fight going the distance is a safe pick. Plus 120. Both guys are pretty tough.
So I hammered the fight goes, but Tristan beat me to the punch here. So
oh, nice.
I have been calling this one for like all week. I just think that you're giving me a situation where this isn't about pure skill set. Like Yanez hits harder. I get it. Like absolutely. But Yanez starts slow. I mean, and there's a universe where Randy Costa wins round 1 against him. I mean, there's an argument that like there are refs that would have stopped that fight. He was getting bombarded. If Kelly wins the first round, and we know the way Kelly fights too, if he wins the first round, you tell me he just needs to win one of their two to win this fight. His decision prop is, I mean, I think Weezy said he got it at like 800. I got it at plus 650. His decision prop is kind of all over the place here, but the split decision's 22-1 on DraftKings. And if I can find it. Oh, you know what happened? I have this thing blown up too much. But the Kelly split decision was plus 2,200. And we're in Texas. We're in a fight that I think is going to go. I mean, look, for a fight that I think is going decision 9 out of 10 times. Like, in Texas. You kidding me? Like, and if you like Yanez split decision, I don't hate it. 800 is not bad. But right. I just think this fight's a lot closer. And I just want to make one more point about this is that in betting, and not just betting MMA, but a lot of times in betting, you see there's like the Yankees, Manchester United, Dallas Cowboys, like public sides get immediately steamed and they have unreasonable lines so they know people are going to bet them. And I really think that everything that's gone on with Tony Kelly and the comments he's made and the fact that like the internet loves Yanez, I feel like that's baked into the line a little bit. I feel like the line is a little too wide to begin with anyway. I struggle to see how Yanez, if you want to tell me that Yanez knocks him out in third, I could see that. But I think I struggle to see how Yanez wins decision. To be honest, like just the way he fights. Like, I mean, yeah, he beat Davey Grant. Like, I get it. This is kind of a similar fight to that.
Yeah, and that was close as it gets for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, the whole point of this show is find me odds that it makes sense that are like have high value. I mean, if you're telling me this doesn't happen 1 out of 22 times, like, I mean, I think this happens a lot more than that. But I'm going with plus 2,200 here. Good luck, Mike.
I can't beat you, man. First off, I'll say this, though. If you're going to bet Kelly on by split, Yanez is the one who's from Texas, not Kelly. Kelly's from Louisiana, so just put that out there. The old Judge screw job. But honestly, I'm looking at Yanez round 3 because I'll say this. I went into this fight ready to bet Tony Kelly like everybody else. Big dog money. I think Yanez is good, but he's not like a legend. And I went into it, and I just can't do it. Tony Kelly, the way he closes the distance for his strikes is he throws these flurries, and he kind of just leaves himself completely open. And someone like Yanez is just going to rip at him. Yanez is really good defensively as well. He rolls with the shots really nicely. I feel like Randy Costa hits much harder than Tony Kelly does. And I just feel like at some point it's likely that Yanez chin checks him. I'm like one of the only people I'm seeing who's on the fight doesn't go here. I feel like an idiot now that I bet it. I bet it early. I was like, oh, this is for sure going to get steamed. And everyone's betting the fight goes now. But yeah, I'm not going to beat plus 2,000. The closest I might get is plus 900 with the round 3 KO. I mean, just round 3.
I didn't want to interrupt you before I did this. There we go. Had to make sure we're halfway through. I had to get it.
It's called mute, bro.
Nah, I want you to hear that I'm drinking a beer. When you get to my old advanced age, you'll get there. All right. So I'm on the Kelly split decision. I actually feel great about this bet. Like, And I'm going to be honest, I
might tail you on this, honestly. You know, I mean, I could see that world happening.
I don't want to root for him. Like I don't want to
Sure.
root for him. I want to make that clear. Like if I lose this bet and Yanez just cracks him in 30 seconds, acceptable loss.
If he has a good night and Yanez has an off night, I certainly see that being a lot closer. And that's possible. I think to beat Adrian Yanez, you're going to have to take him out of his comfort zone, which is just, you know, counter striking and having clean, crisp boxing match, you know? So, I mean, Tony Kelly's not really the guy who's going to be going for takedowns. Yanez, you know, pretty good takedown defense thus far. It's just the amount of volume that Yanez is able to put out, and the fact that he'll have a moving target, you know, kind of just walking into his combos is what worries me. That's why I'm on the Yanez side. But to make this closer than the line would indicate doesn't take very much, and I like your split decision.
Glenn, you know how I feel about draws, and that absolutely. Although, of course, I'm one of the people that, like, I bet draws in the fights that I bet the Yambag shot in, because there's your 10-8. Like, there's your easy 10-8. Judges don't have to worry about it in that case. But we're moving on. We're on to, I believe this is the 9th fight. This is the 9th fight of the night. Greg Rodriguez against Julian Marquez. I'm starting this one off. I'm super excited about this fight. I'm going to make this one simple and, like, see what you guys can top. I'm on the Marquez side. It's not because of dog pricing. I'm going to make this real clear. Like, Rodriguez is getting, and I see this happen with fighters over the years. He's getting into a pattern now where he's getting into absolute wars. Absolute war, Petrosian. Great, or not Petrosian. Was it Petrosian?
I think so.
Yeah.
Absolute war, Petrosian. And then the Iron Turtle fight, like, was wild. I mean, both of them were out, I felt like, for 2 seconds, and the fight kept going on. Those were my fights of the year. To me, it's like fight of the year with no stakes. Was that, like, 7-minute fight? Like, it was excellent. The problem is when Rodriguez, like, he's maybe going away from what he's best at. He didn't attempt any grappling last time out. I don't know if that was strategic or not, but you would think that would be his approach here, but I don't know that I trust him. And if he wants to get into a firefight here on Marquez, this is not the guy you really want to do that with, because he could land 100 shots on Marquez. That 3rd round starts, and Marquez is an animal, man. So I'm playing Marquez here. I leaned in the distance, but I'm trying to keep this light. I'm not sure I see a world where Marquez wins a decision, but plus 150 is good to start this discussion. Mike, I'm going to step it up. I'm sure you will.
No, actually, no, not on this one. I am on Rodriguez. I think he's better than Marquez everywhere. I will agree that his fight IQ is whack, but I don't think Marquez's is anything crazy either. Yeah, I feel like, look, Marquez showed terrible takedown defense against Pitolo, and I'm a Pitolo fan. I thought he was going to be much better than he ended up being. So I'm saying that as a fan. I don't think that his grappling is anything crazy, and he was able to take Marquez down until he got tired, and that's why he stopped getting takedowns. Not because Marquez was stopping them, because he got exhausted. Then his takedown sucked. Rodriguez, yeah, he's also live to get tired like that, but I think his wrestling is cleaner, but not so much his wrestling, his grappling. Like, he's got those judo throws. His back take is disgusting. Like, the way his figure 4 grip, like, he's clean. And I feel like if he gets Marquez's back, it's going to be danger. I feel like he's live for a KO too. I do like his work on the feet. He can get sloppy. He showed that with Park, obviously. That's one of my favorite, like, 10 seconds in MMA. That and who is it? Dariush and I'm blanking on his name now.
Breaking Ferguson's ankle.
I forget the name, but yeah. So, yeah, I can't beat it, though.
Raw Talk brought up in chat. He said Marquez is short notice. It's actually Rodriguez is the one on short notice for this fight, but not like, but he's not like ridiculously short notice at this point to where I would say I don't think Marquez has a huge advantage because of the short notice nature. Like, I think Rodriguez took it, I want to say 6-7 days ago. So if he's been staying in camp, he's fine. But
it was a long time ago, I think
that he took.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, I don't think it's as short notice as, like, they're calling it short notice, but especially in the COVID era, this doesn't feel like a short notice.
I think it's like months, though, isn't it? It's like at least over a month. I think he got notice he was doing this, because I think that goes to my point, which is I think Wellington Turman was supposed to be in this fight against Julian Marquez, and now this kind of represents a step. Like, I thought that was kind of a fair matchup for Marquez. Like, that was a match where he'd get back on track and do something impressive against Turman. But now that he's got Rodriguez stepping in, this is kind of a step up in competition for one guy here. And I see Rodriguez taking this one. The one that I got is plus 600 Rodriguez in round 2. I think this will be a firefight. This will be a war, just the way that Lou was talking about. I think that you're totally right with Rodriguez. He gets in some wars he doesn't need to, but let's face it, he's going to be the more well-rounded guy, the younger guy by a couple of years, the taller guy with a little bit longer reach.
He's not
well.
younger.
Yeah, right. Obama is not 30 years old, but on paper he is. But
on paper, he's 30.
Yeah, but again, this is a kind of a step down in competition for him lately against Marquez. Marquez is definitely tough, but his takedown defense is really the big hole that I see. And Rodriguez is a guy who consistently gets, at least a couple takedowns per fight. So I could see him grounding him. And like Mike was talking about, he's got a nasty back take. And if you don't want him to take your back, he's going to be right back there and mount. And he usually gets that, he usually has pretty good top control, good balance on top. So either a ground and pound situation in round 2 or a submission. But again, I wouldn't say round 3 because, RoboCop Obama's gas tank is not always the best. And if this is going to be the war in round 1 that I think it is, I think he's got either round 1 or more likely round 2 to get this one done. But round 3, I don't see it happening.
I'm still very upset we never got Marquez against Jordan Wright. I'm very much looking forward to that. Well, I'm not going to beat plus 600. I will say that I have looked, and I still may take a poke at Marquez round 3. And his round 3 submission prop is insane for a guy that does have some chokes in his history. Like
what is it?
It was like plus 30. Let's take a look. It was absurd. The round 3 sub was that's not it. Round 3 submission is not plus 275 does not seem right there. There it is.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Plus 3,800 for round 3 submission. I just feel like a guy that has some submission skills against a tired fighter, is definitely in play. But honestly, you're just reaching.
And notice all of Marquez's submissions on his record are not ones that required him to get a takedown. They're like the anaconda choke against Patolo.
And he choked out Alvey.
Jumping guillotine or getting behind Alvey when he couldn't, finish him with the hands and
right.
Kind of standing. So
at least it shows he's aware of how to perform.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't require him to get a takedown, so I don't mind that over a gassed opponent either.
So all right, now we were moving on. We are deep into the main card now that we started that. Damir Ismagulov against another internet favorite this week, Guram Kutateladze. Mike, you're starting this one off. I already know the side you're on, but tell me how you are playing the dog here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to win this one, so I'm going to start light and just say Guram money line. It's what is it now? Plus 145.
Plus 145 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
I got a worse line at first because I got him at plus 125 early. I thought I was getting a good line, and then he hit plus 140. So I was like, whatever, I'll just add a unit. It's all good. So I added a unit. But anyways, look, in the striking realm, I think he's better. I know everyone loves Damir's jab. I keep hearing about that jab all week. I'm a big jab guy too, but I think Guram is really good on the feet. I feel like he probably has the advantage here in the striking. Damir's got the grappling without a doubt. But look, we watched Guram handle Gamrot's grappling. He might have lost that fight depending on who you ask. On rewatch, honestly, I'm not sure. I thought probably Guram, but I'm not sure. I just feel like Guram's going to be able to handle it. He's been off for a year. We know he's been in the gym, though. We've seen him in Hamzat's posts. We've seen him if you check his own Instagram, he's been in there all year. So I do like Guram to win this fight. And yeah, I'll let you guys go before I finish it off.
All right, you're at Guram plus 145. Patrick, can you top that?
Playing it safer. I am a big Damir fanboy. I like Damir Ismagulov. I like what he's done. I mean, these guys are both on a little bit of a layoff here. Damir for a year and Guram for a little bit longer than that. Guram's got very nice strikes, and the kicks are the big difference. Boxing-wise, Damir might even have the smoother in the pocket, boxing, but the kicks are the big difference maker. But with those kicks comes the ability for Damir to maybe mix it up and get the entry for the takedown. And it's a matter of kind of like Mike was saying, can he hold down Guram Kutateladze? He was able to get up from a 2-scam rat by threatening submissions and things like that. I think Damir will be able to hold him down in this spot if need be, if he can mix it up. And I'm just slightly leading Damir, the guy that we just have a better set of data on. He's got a shiny 23-1 record, and he's had some high-level opponents as well. We're talking Thiago Moises and the Alvarez one. These have aged decently well. They're at least higher-level opponents. So I like what I see from Damir, and I do think this goes the distance here. What was Damir's Magulov fights usually do. So I'm just taking the basic vanilla plus 125 Ismagulov decision.
Yeah, and Raw Torque is on the same thing, as am I. I like the Demir decision, but I'm going to preface it by saying I haven't bet this fight yet, and I won't until after the weigh-ins because, Ismagulov came in 7.5 pounds overweight last time, and we haven't seen Guram in so long that I do want to see him on the scales as well. It's not like he's had a problem getting on the scales, but with such a long layoff, I feel like this is one more data point I need just to lock it in. I favor Ismagulov. I think this is your classic minute winner versus moment winner. I don't think this thing hits the ground. I'd be kind of surprised if it did. But if it does, it's because Ismagulov is forcing it. But I don't know that Ismagulov wants to force it against a guy that trains with Khamzat. So I could see this being 15 minutes on the feet. Like, Mike, to your point, you're on the Guram side. 15 minutes on the feet gives him a chance to land a bomb. I do think he has more power. But I feel like this is just a mere piecing him up for 15 minutes. But that's really the only play. And a decision prop, you're not really – they know, man. Like Vegas knows, like you're not getting much of a discount to take that decision prop here. So he's a parlay piece if you want to be safe. Decision prop, you get a little bit of equity. Mike, you want to top yourself before we move on?
Yeah. Question though, Damir missed weight against Alves, or was that a different fight? That was against it was a different scheduled fight, right?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. It was Mustafayev.
Word. I'm asking because I wanted to bring up that Damir didn't look good in round 3 against Alves. And I like Alves. I've been betting him as well. I backed him against Damir even. But I don't think he's somebody close to the level of Guram, So I feel like, just to answer something Patrick said, Patrick mentioned that the competition levels, right? So, if you look at both their records, I know Guram only has one fight in the UFC, but it's Gamrot. And then you look at Damir's record, you got Alex Georges, Yoel Alvarez was pretty good, Thiago Moises was good, Rafa, and then Alves, who I would say is all right for now. And then you got Gamrot.
Alves is decent. Alves is a solid pro.
You think so? I don't know. I don't know.
He's not a world beater, but I think he's a solid. I think Alves is a solid test. Absolutely.
But anyways, to beat myself, I'm betting Guram round 3 KO plus 2,200. Only a sprinkle because I do think we probably go the distance here. That's why I didn't bet fight doesn't go because it's plus money. So that might have been a good spot, honestly. But I think we go to the distance. But if we don't, I wouldn't be shocked at a round 3 KO for Guram. I still think he's better on the feet. And if Damir is pushing that grappling pace, right, the wrestling the whole 2 rounds in the beginning, and he can't get that takedown, what's he going to look like in round 3? He might look tired. So I like the sprinkle there.
All right. Well, you are locked in with Guram round 3 plus 2,200. I am 1,000,000% not beating that. Patrick, you're not. We're on the other end. There's no prop we can take Damir with unless it's like
it'd be something. Yeah, it'd be something very out of character. And again, it's one of these cases where there's been a few on this card so far where we're looking at a fighter. One of the fighters is on such a long layoff. It's really hard to get any relevant pattern recognition from that.
Can we same game like the ball shot decision at like plus 4,000? Because if I could, I would, I would do it. But let's move on. Still got about 30 people in chat, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on a Thursday evening to start your fight weekend off. We're moving on. This is another fight that seems like it's going to be explosive. Albert Duraev against Joaquin Buckley. Duraev is a little more than a 2-1 favorite. Patrick, I believe this one is you. What side are you on? Mike is leaving the stream. Mike is gone.
Bye, Mike.
Bye, Mike. It was nice seeing you.
We got to get some underdogs in this one. I am taking Joaquin Buckley in this one over Albert Duraev, and it's not that Joaquin has been. He's very explosive, very strong guy. It's not that he's been that impressive ever since his string of knockouts, and especially the Impa Katsabane one. Nobody will ever forget. But it's just how unimpressive I am with Albert Duraev. He seems a lot more first rounder bust than his record would indicate. And especially that fight against Roman Kopylov, man, that was just so hard to watch, so hard to get through over such a big favorite. It was just, especially the round 3 of that was just, you're talking about Roman Kopylov, who's not very good, piecing him up on the feet, on the striking numbers, putting him in trouble, and then actually, taking him down himself. So again, it's Roman Kopylov in round 3. Albert Duraev's gas tank looks extremely suspect. So I'm actually looking at Buckley round 2 KO is plus 1,000. I like the plus 1,600 of round 3 KO for Buckley. I think he definitely will get out grappled, taken down. If he can survive that in rounds 1 and rounds 2, Duraev just getting exhausted from out muscling the explosive Joaquin Buckley trying to get up. I think he'll be gassed by round 3, and if Joaquin Buckley can survive, I think he gets that knockout in round 3.
Well, I am not beating that at all.
Plus 1,600.
I wrote it down. You had me at plus 1,600.
I'm on it also. So if that,
there we go.
I'm on that as well.
Let's go.
I'm
Mike.
on the Duraev side for the most part, but I will say this. So I like my early bets. I'll tape the fight when the line first comes out, and I taped it real quick, and I was like, all right, Duraev, he'll go in my big round robin. And then I'm watching the tape again going into my show, and I was like, oh, I don't like this one bit. I will say this, Roman Kopylov, he's a master of sport in combat sambo back in Russia, and like that's legit. You have to have hundreds of fights to get that. So he's a good striker, and it made sense for him to give Duraev trouble on the feet, but that also displayed Duraev's bad fight IQ, right? Why was he on the feet when he clearly had a wrestling advantage? And then in round 3, it showed his bad cardio, which is why I think Buckley's live. Buckley's super explosive. I've always thought he's underrated. I've backed him in almost all his fights. Holland, I backed him. Impa, I backed him. I back him most of the time. I do think he gets out grappled here, probably. But I think if we get to round 3, he's going to be super live. So I'm there too.
There we go.
The one thing I will say about this is that this whole fight seems to be about the Duraev side. It's about his bad fight IQ, and it's about if he can get it to the ground. So I want to say on the Buckley side, I still feel like these lines are still a little off because of the Impa KO. I really do. Like, he's not lighting the world on fire. And that Al Hassan fight, I know he had I forget the guy's name, but he had the American hero in his
Oh my God, I forgot about that. It seems like a dream. It seems like a weird fever dream.
Combat drill guy. But in the 3rd round against Al Hassan, who is notorious gasser, he's getting, and it wasn't just he was getting taken down. Al Hassan used the same move on him 3 times. Trip. Just kept tripping him. And I thought Buckley won. I didn't even think it was a split. I didn't think it was as close as the judging was going to be. I thought Buckley cleared 2-1, but he didn't end that fight well. Now, I don't know what his cardio, how suspect his cardio can be, but if Duraev decides to go rest, if he goes to the ground early, as he should, first of all, if he doesn't, his coaches should be like, we're done, dude. You just don't listen to us. Because there's no way his coaches are go strike with him for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
So I would think that this is completely up to Duraev to win and to get him out of there. But I understand what you guys that I don't know that Duraev has earned the trust yet. So I'm all over the time props here. I love the under 2.5. The fight doesn't go. Any time prop here to me works.
What about the over 1.5? Do you guys think about that? Because is this not set at over 1.5? Right?
Well, you have a guy that's been knocked out by a Meave.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm never taking an over.
Because over 1.5 is minus 155, right? So that's.
Look,
yeah,
Buckley could bonk him in less than 60 seconds.
Yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me.
No.
Again, he was knocked out by a Meave, and it wasn't. Was it that long ago? I don't think it was all that long ago that a Meave knocked him out.
It was 2012.
Okay, that's whatever.
Yeah, they were in the early 20s.
Whatever.
You know who hasn't knocked me out in the last 10 years? A Meave. I haven't been knocked out by him. No, it's still a bad look, and
yeah, it's a horrible look.
I don't think
a Meave has done it since.
No, so I'm whatever. But let's move on. I believe I get this one. This is the last one I'm going to have today. Yeah. Kevin Holland against Tim Means. Short and sweet. So Kevin Holland lives in Gotham, as I've mentioned of several times. He saves people from the Riddler and shit. Every 3 months, it's some story about him pulling somebody out of the trap that Jigsaw made. And it's crazy. He's such a likable guy. I admit that I just love the guy. I also feel I know Tim Means has a path to victory if he wanted to go grapple heavy, but he's never shown that he really wants to do that. He didn't even do it against Mike Perry. He's not going to do it here. So I'm on the Holland KO side. I will leave it up to you guys to top me. I do have a round prop I like with it, but I'm just going to start with Kevin Holland. His KO prop was plus 150, 160. And I see, I see Brandon talk about this and Raw Torque. Yeah, I see people getting cute with this Holland sub. Oh, I'm sorry. The in the distance is plus 150. I see people getting cute with this Holland sub. I took the Holland sub last time because I'm like, oh, he's gonna it would be very Kevin Holland to show up and be like, look, I can get.
And it was like plus 800 last time, I think. Too,
yeah, and it was crazy. And then he just knocked him the fuck out, and I'm like, why the hell did I take? Why did I take this prop? Now, I will say that if you look at the way Tim Means loses, a lot of times he gets caught in subs. And Holland is the kind of guy I'd be like, look, man, of course I can grapple. My grappling's awesome. So I could see him going for it, but I really just think Means is going to keep this the fight standing, and which is a horrible idea, but that's what he wants to do. And I think Holland is just a matter of time before he tags him. So I'm playing Holland distance plus 150. I do admit the sub is weirdly live, but just give me in the distance. Only a root for my guy. Mike, top me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the sub. I'm on the sub. Look, he's live for a sub, I feel like. He only has one in the UFC, if I'm correct. It's just against John Phillips, if I remember correctly. But he is a supposed black belt. He is constantly competing. And, Tim Means, I don't expect him to come out here grappling. But after getting hit by Holland a few times, I do expect him to start shooting a bit. And if Holland's defending, we know Holland's been practicing the takedown defense. Maybe he's not amazing at it yet, but I think he's going to keep it up. He'll at least get up. Means gets tired, right? He goes for a sloppy shot. Is a guillotine really out of the question? We kind of saw a similar thing with Ryan Spann and Kutelaba, except Kutelaba wasn't even tired yet. So I feel like the sub is pretty live here. I got plus 1100. Now it's not as great now. It's plus 600 or 700, but I like it.
Patrick, you feel like topping that?
It's funny because we're all over the place, and then you're right in the middle, Lou, because I'm in Kevin Holland by knockout, which is I got that at plus 200. So we got one person on sub, one person on KO, and you're right inside the distance, probably the safer option, but plus 200 for KO. I get it. Tim Means has got this durability. He's had a long career. I just think that he's usually the much bigger, longer guy at this weight class. And now it's going to be Kevin Holland with half a foot of reach on him, the youth by 10 years. A little bit of height. And I think it'll be like last time with Cowboy Silva, where he was known for his legendary durability at that time, only been knocked out once. Well, same with Tim Means, only been knocked out once, but Kevin Holland can still do it. I think he's finally in the right weight class, and this will be a spot for him to kind of like a weird, lesser tier version of the Yanez Kelly situation. I feel like where Kevin Holland will have somebody pressuring forward who leaves even more holes defensively in their striking. And I think Kevin Holland will stay at, he's pretty good at maintaining distance. It's not too hard with those long, 81-inch reach arms. So I think he can piece him up here and by round 2 find that KO.
He's got to ask the crowd to quiet down so he can jaw it.
Yeah, right. That's what worries me, though. And that's what worries me about all three of us being on Holland is because I'm still, I like him. He's a good, likable personality outside the cage. But, man, when he I had money on Derek Brunson by decision that night, but that was just intrigued. That was just infuriating. It was so infuriating to watch him just talk to the commentary team while he's in the middle of a fight. And he did it 2 fights in a row. So he's still winning me back as a big favorite here. Very, very untrustworthy in my mind, but I think he should have the tools to get this one done.
When we watched the Brunson Cannonier fight, I got a buddy who's just massive Holland fan. His son's a big Holland fan. Bought the shirt with him doing the thumbs up. Oh, and nice. as soon as Cannonier knocked him out, he's like, "That's for Holland." That's for Kevin Holland. And I'm like, wow, that was a long time ago. But it just seems like one of these spots where and I haven't seen anybody on Means yet online. Although we're gonna hear, you're gonna see on Twitter on Sunday. I told you. Oh man, my Means bet hit. My Means bet hit. DM for VIP packages.
Right. Yeah.
There's that one guy beefing with Holland that team Tim Means. I'm blanking on his name.
It's still pretty funny though. Holland seems like kind of a good sport about all of it. He's like Holland knows what he's doing. He's like, that's all right. So speaking of guys that definitely have known what they're doing in their careers, Donald Cowboy Cerrone against Joe Lauzon. I feel like Mike. I feel like we've broken this fight down before.
We literally have.
But start us off, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I think the entire MMA community is like on the same freaking bet here.
I'm just writing it down. I know what you're going to say.
Joe Lauzon, round 1 KO. You know, we're all on there. We all like it for the same reason. Cerrone's a slow starter. Cerrone's kind of ancient now. Low key, I still think Cerrone is better than we're giving him. Like, you look at the Nico Price fight, which was only what, like a year and a half ago, 2 years, something like that. He looked all right. I didn't think he looked like really aged. I thought he was good. Like, they went to war. He didn't get knocked out. He went to decision. So I feel like he's not as washed as we're saying, but I do think he's pretty old. I do think he's a slow starter, and Lauzon is a fast starter. Also, I want to say that I know that a lot of people are saying the JSP win is kind of like a fraudulent win for Lauzon. I disagree. Like, to do something like that,
that's no fraudulent win. That's no.
It's really hard to do something like that. Like, it's not an easy thing to do what he did, even with the arm being stuck. Like, that takes like skill, and like, it's a good move. And once you do it, you're going to win the fight, obviously. And he got it done. So like, you got to give him credit for it. I think he's live for a first round KO. So
Weezy may throw you off the channel though for saying anything bad about his boy JSP. So like, be
I love
man.
JSP too. I haven't bet against him yet.
Well, he screwed me over last time by not getting to finish. But Patrick, how do you feel? I mean, are you kind of on the same prop here?
No, I'm not. And my mind and my heart are telling me different things here. My mind is going off the stats, and all the stats point to this going under. 36 of 54 for Cerrone. I've not seen the scorecards. I think 35 of 43 for Lauzon. I've not seen the scorecards. So it would point more likely to an under, and just how shot these guys are. But what if these guys, I mean, it's going to go one of two ways, right? Like, they could have the ring rust from Joe Lauzon not being in here since 2019. Is he going to be a fast starter again? Just out of, I'm not quite sure. I really want to think that this goes to decision in all honesty here. Like, these two senior citizens might just like take their walkers out to the cage and softly amble to the center and kind of, have a sparring match the whole time. I don't know. This will be sad, and no matter what. One guy will get, barely touched and he'll crumple to his death in the cage in round one, or it'll just be like a really boring kind of, unskilled fight with two out of shape guys. I don't know. I really do think that this will actually see the scorecards, and I think Cerrone still has he's had the more activity. It hasn't been the greatest of activity, but he's had more activity. So he's been preparing for fight camps. Cerrone by decision plus 325 is the most value side I can see on here. Totally backwards from what I've been seeing, but that's just what my prediction tells me.
Hey man, sometimes going contrarian works. Yeah.
And I know it goes against the numbers and everything like that, and it's not a high confidence bet out of 14 fights in this card, but I just think that this might be sad in a way that not many people are seeing. It won't be sad as like one guy dies. It'll be sad and like this will be a very low paced fight.
I just want to put this comment back up from Glenn. So Mike and I never agree, and this is maybe one of the few times we're like exact same problem.
How many buds did Cowboy have?
So he's been making a movie with like Rampage and like all these people in Singapore. He's totally not in fight shape. I don't think he cares anymore. Look, speculation. Like, I understood, but I think Cerrone's making some real money out there, being in a movie. I think he's hit a point in his life where, like, I don't think he needs this like he did. And it's not even about the accumulated damage to me, because when you have like, he's now taken a significant amount of time off for the first time in years. And honestly, the human body is an amazing thing, and it does heal. But the desire, like, Cerrone's not fighting for he knows he's never fighting for a title. He knows there's no path to like rise up. And I really just feel like this is a paycheck. And I think Lauzon actually gives a fuck. Like, I really do. And I think Lauzon just like stomps him in like 2 minutes, and it's going to be really sad. Like, if this goes the distance, I'm going to lose like tons of bets, Patrick. Like, I cannot root for Cerrone by decision.
I have to disagree with one thing you said, which is that Cerrone won't be fighting for a title. I think he will be fighting for a title soon. The BKFC belt, baby. Put him in bare knuckle boxing. Let's go. A whole new career right around the corner for you at the right age of 39. That's the perfect age to start bare knuckle boxing.
The biggest bet that I have for the card is the fight doesn't start round 3. It's like minus 115, which is totally, to me, it's completely reasonable because this fight hits the 3rd.
Yeah.
All bets, at that point, all bets are off. Like, if you have a side, you're like, fuck. Because if it hits the 3rd, it's probably 1-1, and nobody's going to have, it's going to be like, who can push the other one over? Sorry, Glenn, this is my Walk with Elias shirt. It doesn't look like Doesn't look right. Yeah, I'm with Paul. Like, I this fight, if it goes a distance, then I'm,
all the numbers point to
boy.
it, but I don't know. What if this is slow pace? What if this is more boring than we're giving it credit to be?
Yeah. So we've got to the main event. I know that Brady's show started. Don't leave. I know Brady's best bet started, but we'll get you guys out of here in a few minutes. We're going to end with Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett. Patrick, start us off. Kattar, do you feel like this is a fair line? Is it not wide enough? Like, where are you at with this?
I think it's priced about appropriately. Where is it now? Minus 230 or so, minus 230 for Kattar. I think it's lined appropriately for the level of competition, but that's not leaving a lot of extra betting value on it, right? We're not getting too much of an edge on that line. I think it's kind of priced where it should be, which is the problem. So, and then when you go to the underdog side, I'm not really seeing too many reasons to bet on Josh Emmett or too many ways to even do it. The guy who's older, the guy who's got the much smaller man as far as the measurables go. I mean, I know he's kind of a tank of a featherweight here, but you need to see the way that they handle their opponents. They have a lot of common opponents: Dan Ige, Jeremy Stevens, Ricardo Lamas. So you kind of have a sense of where these guys are, where their ceiling is. And although Josh Emmett does have fight-ending power, Calvin Kattar is probably not going to be falling susceptible to that. So I like the overs in this fight. I like the over 3.5. Even the over 4.5, which is at minus 140. And at that point, you might as well just bet fight goes. But yeah, I just like all of the high level competition for Calvin Kattar. I think he's the better guy striking. And, again, just his durability is, what's working for him a lot in this fight, aside from his better skill set. And if you look at the numbers of how many times these guys go to decision, it's like at least 50%, in their entire career.
So I know Mike's just going to beat whatever I say here. But I'm just going to put it this way, is that instead of giving like an actual pick, I'm going to give it a little bit of a strategy for this one. If you like the Kattar side, and he's wrapped up in a lot of if you want to wrap him up in a lot of parlays, that's awesome. If you get to a point in the night where like you're really depending on that, back Emmett up with a KO prop, because I just don't see Emmett winning a decision.
I couldn't agree more.
And the KO prop's like almost 5-1. So it gives you a really good hedge out spot as a gambler if you wanted to play it that way. Whether or not I think Emmett gets the KO is irrelevant. The point is if you get to a point where your whole night is riding on Kattar, like any of you guys watching this probably watched Dog or Pass with Cody Safdie and Paul Shaughnessy. Like, he top tickets main event guys with the express intent that he can hedge out. And I think this is like an absolutely perfect one when you're getting a guy whose only win condition, in my opinion, is the KO. Emmett's not getting a sub. And I don't see how Emmett wins the decision. So if you can get to a point where you can go really small and Emmett KO just to like guarantee a good night, I would take it. Yeah. But I lean. I don't see how Emmett wins. I'm just saying that's plus 500 for a hedge spot that seems.
Yeah, Lou is so right, and that hedging out like that has saved me so much money over the past year or so that I've been, tracking. I mean, it's just saved me incomprehensible amounts of money just having, a parlay piece, and then if things are going well, just hedging out and just ensuring. You can do the math real quick and just see, will I, instead of risking it to win 5 units, can I just settle on just winning 2.5? It's just the best strategy, and it'll let you stay in this game a lot longer without having to refill your bankroll for sure.
So, Mike, take us on with the big bet.
So first off, in my opinion, like if you're going to bet Emmett, decision no action is the spot. I feel like, because then you just get your money back once they make it to decision. If you think Kattar wins, you probably think he wins by decision. I'm going to contradict myself in a second. I don't necessarily think so, but most do. So in my opinion, Josh Emmett, decision no action. If you like that spot, that's the way to go, in my opinion. But I like Kattar. I'm on the Kattar side. I agree with everything you guys have said, everything Patrick said. I think Kattar's just better. But I'm going to be playing the round 4 and round 5 KOs because look, Emmett has gone. He's gone 3 rounds. 5 rounds only once, right? With
on the Kattar side, the Kattar round 4, round 5. Okay.
Yes, Kattar round 4, round 5. Round 4, I got plus 2,000. I think it's lower now, and round 5 was plus 2,500, and I think that's a bit lower now too. But I just feel like, look, if Kattar does the same kind of thing with Giga, where he's pouring on the volume, he's definitely the volume striker here. Emmett carries the power, so I do think Kattar's going to look ugly too going into round 4. But I expect Emmett to look like a mess as well. And with that output, Kattar has underrated power. His precision is amazing. I think a KO could be live late, so I like a sprinkle on round 4 and round 5 KO.
Awesome, man. Well, I am going to post all the picks that like we all came up.
And sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say, Emmett round 5 sub on his Jiri shit is plus 12. That plus 12,500.
That's what's known as a lube bet.
Just say
that's Brady calls that a lube bet. But well, guys, we made it to 14 fights. I know that like some people cut out for Brady. Like, I'll get that son of a bitch into my time slot. But I will post all these bets on Twitter and let everybody know what we came up with. Mike, tell the people where to find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Couch Warrior Pod. You can find me on YouTube. On YouTube, I'm Couch Warrior Podcast. I do a show every Tuesday where I just break down the upcoming fights from a gambling perspective. You know how it is. And then on Wednesdays, I do my fantasy show. I cover Prize Picks, Monkey Knife Fight, and Underdog Fantasy. I believe I'm still the only one on YouTube doing like stats on Prize Picks, so that's cool. And then every Thursday, I'm here with Lou on the MMA Engine at 6 p.m. He's proud of me now. Got the time right. And
good job,
as
Mike.
You guys can see, it's a lit show, so keep tuning in. But yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Mike. Patrick, tell the people where to find you.
What's going on, guys? It's been a pleasure to break down these fights with you, get some props in. My name is Patrick. You can find me at Twitter at Combat Addict 1 or on YouTube at Addicted to Combat, where I do full card breakdowns, get in depth with things for about an hour each week for the fights. And then usually later in the week, before the weigh-ins, I usually do a best bets and props where I put, kind of a video together real quick, under 10 minutes of what my action is and what are some of the best value bets for the week. And then I recap it on Sunday. So, catch me over there. Give me a like, give me a follow. Let's talk some fights. Slide in the DMs on Twitter. I just love talking MMA.
Larson is saying that we're all awesome. I will admit that he's completely biased because that's what I'm going to the cabin with this weekend. You know where you can find. You know where you can find me this weekend. You can't, because I am taking my well-deserved break. I'm realizing after all the Vince McMahon news I've heard, maybe the WWE shirt was not a great idea. Kind of thinking about this. This was our first monetized video that I've run on our channel. So anybody that helped us get there, I'm really grateful. I never thought this would be a thing that I did ever, but
yeah, hey, congratulations on it. I mean, it's a pleasure to be on the MMA Engine. I mean, how fast you guys have grown this channel is just a testament to the hard work and the loyal fan base you guys have. So
threats of physical violence.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
it works.
well.
It works.
Like, it's really well. Like I'm, 5'8", but like intimidating. But find me MMA Engine, Lou Betcha on Twitter. Real life got in the way of like some of the product updates this week. Sorry, George, that we didn't have enough crazy bets. Like past the 4th fight, we were like firing on. I mean, everything's like, I think like the crappiest bet we had late was the Jasuda Vicious in the distance. Like that's only because Mike's like, I kind of want to take Silva late, but I won't do it. But
won't yet.
Like my shows are always posted. Like I'll be on at midnight tonight for the happy hour, a very special Midnight Express happy hour with Monk. Where, and like, no offense, I'll probably be drunk. So like my drunk shows are like kind of fun for me. Maybe
I'm going to tune in for that one.
Maybe not for you guys, but like for me, they're great. And, but good luck to you guys on your bets this weekend. 8:15 probability on the network, 10 p.m. Eric's Big Money Bets with the Guru, and then back here at midnight. And I have some ideas to make it fun later, where it just won't be a standard, like, here are the picks, because you guys have already heard a lot of that stuff. So we'll open it up to the crowd a little bit. I do have some fun ideas, and I may be drinking out of a shoebox. So, guys, thank you for joining us. Go follow Mike at the Couch Warrior Pod. Go follow Patrick at Addicted to Combat. If you're following me, like, unfollow and then hit it again. Maybe that helps the algorithm. I don't know how this shit works. I'm in my 40s. Guys, thanks. Take care, and happy birthday to Mr. Greg Larson in chat. Take care, guys.